They have said they are willing to talk more about the political declaration, which is the accompanying 25 pages or so, setting out at quite a high level what the UK's future relationship with the EU might look like. So, and they've also said that if the UK's red lines change, then they would be willing to change their offer. But I think the challenge at the moment is Theresa May has very much stuck to her guns. She's not asking, she hasn't changed her red lines, she hasn't changed the UK government's position. And in that sense, it seems like it's very difficult for her to bring back something that will satisfy her backbenchers.
Okay, so she comes back with a codicil. She comes back with some kind of assurance. As you say, that's probably not going to be enough for the Andrew Bridgens of this world, is it? In which case, her deal will be voted down again.
Yeah, I mean, I think if that happens, what we can see is she potentially narrows the gap. So, for example, maybe about half of her MPs might be willing to support that because, you know, some of the people who voted against her deal in January were MPs who are normally quite willing to support the Prime Minister. So some of them might come round because actually they recognise she's renegotiated, had conversations with the EU. And then there are also the likes of Caroline Flint, for example, who in Labour seems to be more willing to support the deal this time round. So she might close the gap, but the challenge really is that the maths still doesn't quite add up at this point.
Right, okay, so she closes the gap from over 100 to, I don't know, 60, shall we say. But her deal still does not go through. We then get, and we talked about this a little bit earlier on, we then get a vote on taking no deal off the table. Looks as if there is a majority in Parliament for that.
Yeah.
We then get another vote the next day on delaying Brexit, which means, say, Theresa May has until the end of June to come up with something. And because the European elections are July the 1st. Now, does that mean that when she goes back to Brussels, if all that scenario plays out, and we get to a continuation of the discussions up to the end of June, are we talking more of a soft Brexit coming up rather than any kind of hard Brexit? Because why would she keep the same red lines that haven't got her the deal over the line that she wanted to in the first place?
I think it's really difficult to predict what the Prime Minister is going to do, and I think that's one of the things that we have seen consistently throughout this process. She's kept her cards quite close to her chest, so we don't really know where she's going to pivot if her deal gets voted down again. Does she stick more on the hard line of her party, or does she exactly pivot more to the centre, hope to reach out across party to try and get more support?
Where would you put your money?
I'm not sure if I'm not sure I'm a betting person. I'm not sure I can. I mean, really, it really isn't clear, and I think that's something we saw today. So, for example, a question to her put after her statement this afternoon was, what's the government going to do? Are they going to support the amendment saying we should go for no deal, or are they going to support the amendment for extending Article 50? And she refused to say even that today. So I think maybe we'll get a better idea when we get to those votes, because actually if the government ends up saying we will not support pursuing no deal, it suggests that she would pivot closer to a softer Brexit.
Sure, okay. But we could still end up leaving without a deal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing that I think we've been saying constantly is that the two ways to avoid a no-deal Brexit is to vote for a negotiated deal, whatever that may be, or for the government to decide to revoke Article 50, because delaying Article 50 only means you're delaying the prospect and the possibility of leaving the EU without a deal.